Alright, so at this point, probably people haven't seen the last video, but I'm gonna put down that you should see the last video before you see this one. So, I've been privileged to be good at what I do for a very, very long time. And I remember, I did a few things that made me, it forced amnesia on me because I wanted to do it again. But, the second time I was hoping there was going to be more suffering. And I got what I wanted, so I sold it. But the second time around, there I am, right? And I'm coming to understand my power the second time around. Because, like, a lot of shit had happened before that. That made me realize, yeah, maybe this, I'm capable of doing things in a room that people normally shouldn't be able to do. And I wanted to test it out. Oh, like, fuck it, man. I'm going to the psych ward, right? Now, every time I would come in with a different diagnosis. But this one time, I went in for like, I don't know, it could have been 2 weeks, probably 4 weeks. I'll be honest, I probably can't tell. I just hope they recorded that shit. Because I went in there with purpose. I went in there with intent. Like I knew what the fuck I was doing. So right off the bat, I'm just acting wild as fuck, right? And then with the staff, I'm acting wild as fuck, right? And then with the patients, I immediately switched into the therapist role. I'm just there for them, I'm just there for them. I'm helping them out, answering the questions. And at first everybody's got their own issues. So some are prickly, some are plushy, some are rigid, some are pliable. Everybody's different. I gotta work through them. So I'm working the room and I've got these staple things I do. So at night when everybody goes to sleep, I patrol the hallway. And I do it as loud as possible. So everybody knows, oh yeah, the crazy guy's patrolling the hallway. Now, this had an effect after the first week of slowly getting people to, because, I'd listen and shit. People be talking in the room. But as I patrolled the hallway, they slowly started going to sleep faster. And they slept for longer periods of time. Just from patrolling the hallway. Just them knowing I'm out there patrolling the hallway at all times and shit. So, by the end of the first week, second week, this is when all these weird effects start popping up. So, people are starting to sleep better. People are communicating with each other more. All of a sudden, I'm surrounded by all the girls. I really hope they caught that on camera. But I'm surrounded by all the girls, right? And I'm helping them just like I'm helping them in. And here's the thing. What they didn't catch is that the men really like the girls. So the whole thing is like amplifying on itself. Now, the women like me. I'm a man of virtue. So they're looking up to me. It's making the men look up to me because they want to know how I'm doing. And the women want to know more because it's teaching them about the men and how they can go about navigating life and figuring out who's who and what's what. I'm just like, all right, this is getting good. By week 2, though, is when I start getting the staff involved, though. Yeah, I think it did last longer than 2 weeks. Because I remember this whole fucking period, once I started getting the staff involved, a few other, more hardcore, you could tell these guys had been in gangs and they were dealing with issues, and that's why they ended up here. Some of them started coming up to me. And we had the God and atheism debate. And how I found common ground with them was, I told them shit here. I heard them, you better go correct them. I'm gonna fucking kill you right here. I'm looking at them with love, like, don't worry about it, dude. If you do, I'm cool with it. I had it coming. But nah, I think we can find common ground this way. It's not about, a book. It's about reality. And it's not about worship. It's about raising your children, right? And getting them out of these fucked up situations that we find ourselves in. It's about working hard, not only to understand each other, how to move forward, but at the same time, so I'm explaining all this shit to you. And obviously, I do a heart, so it's always eye to eye. That's what people, on the bottom, eye to eye, you're going to see me. I'm unflinching. So here's some in the heart. That's all. But, So we had our hearts to hearts and shit. And then they'd get pissed every time the staff messed with me. Yo, you be seeing motherfuckers walking up behind me like, yo. But, so, you know, we went through that phase. Then we went through the white boy phase. Because there's this one white guy who want to represent all the other white guys. And, you know, it's the big tough alpha guy. So he's trying to pick fights with me, and every time I'm like, dude, man, just you gotta relax. The staff are gonna get you. When they're ready to chank him, I'm like, I run in the middle. I'm like, no, he's just pissed off at me because he doesn't understand. If you're gonna chank somebody, chank me. I'm the one who's irritating the fucker. And he looked at me like. After that, we started getting along a lot better. Then his mother came in, and she tried to put him back into the position of the macho alpha thing. So I started walking up behind her, and I'd whisper in her ear every time I passed by. It's because of you that he ended up here. You couldn't teach him how to be a man. Being an asshole is not a man. You know, and I do these walks. Right behind every time, she'd be like... She was like, she just started running. At first she got pissed, and then when she realized everything in the room is moving in my direction, she just started skedaddling out of it. She was like, oh fuck. But, you know, and then I think it's by the third week or the fourth week when they started really entering into complete experiences. You know, and then I had one culmination where they all did it in sync. And I'm going, like, fuck that shit, man. This was fun. But, you know, I do this so many times, they do have a camera. Sooner or later, they're going to figure out all my tricks. But yeah, I had a shit ton of stories like that, but yeah, I figured it was time for a little bit of story time. Hope you enjoyed it. All right? Peace.